you at? I came here for vengeance, watch your back. No need to defend, I'm on attack. Sorry they can't reply, but I guarantee they had a blast. Pop, 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 I be on the next to only ya. I am fresh to death.
Welcome back. So it seems like everybody has enjoyed these so far, so I'm definitely going to continue to do these. And if you guys have any things that you want to hear about or learn about or whatever, feel free to drop a comment. Let me know. I'm not going to do like X's and O's as far as coaching is concerned with these. Like, I'm not going to get into nutrition stuff. I'm not going to get into training stuff. Like, maybe at some point, but for right now, I think just thoughts that are on my mind and like kind of ranting on those things is going to be the better option here. It's just something different than what I've been doing, because most of what I've been doing has been like in the gym with my clients, that sort of thing. So I'm trying to bring just a new, fresh type of content. So today's conversation is going to be about people leave coaches way too fast these days. And I'm not talking about a situation where your coach did something wrong, right? Like if your coach did something really bad and they talked down to you, or they dropped the ball as far as the peak is concerned completely, or they didn't get you in good enough shape, or maybe it's just a matter of you guys didn't mesh well. Those situations are completely different. But I'll often see athletes leave a coach after a good showing just because they didn't get the placing that they wanted. And the truth of the matter here is if we look at the best of the best, look at your Olympians, look at the people who have won the Olympia, most of those guys only hit 100% of their best look ever a handful of times. That doesn't mean that they didn't win at not their best look, but that means that their peak probably still could have been better, and they could have looked even better at that show. So if we are looking at the best of the best and saying, hey, look, even these guys miss pretty often, that should be an indicator that anyone at any level, at any time, with any coach can miss and not bring their best look ever. And look, I do not have a 100% track record. There are literally clients from this season that I'm like, I could have done better there. With some of my best clients, like Blake at Texas Cup, we didn't have our best look ever. And there were some other underlying circumstances that were going on there that kind of caused that, besides just my coaching. But had he decided, well, we brought a bad look this time, so I'm going to leave Nick now and go find another coach. Now the next person that he has to deal with has to learn everything from scratch. And not to say that that's impossible to do, but it could have made the process much longer for him. Then we had that look at Texas Cup that we both were like, all right, that wasn't our best ever. But then we brought an amazing package to Nationals and blew his look out of the water from the previous year of Nationals. So Blake having the understanding of, yeah, we may not have nailed it this time, but we will in the future because we have gotten better data, allowed us the opportunity to bring something even better the next time. So the thing that I want to get across here to any competitors watching these things is make sure that when you are leaving a coach, it is for a justifiable reason, right? And a lot of times I think competitors are scared to go and speak to their coach about some issues that they may have been having with the process because they're afraid of how that coach is going to respond. And if you bring it to them in the wrong way, yeah, they might take it poorly. They might take it really bad. So it's a matter of making sure that you and your coach have a transparent relationship in the fact that we can have a difficult conversation without it turning into some blowout argument, because that's not what this needs to be. From the coach to the athlete and the athlete to the coach, there is going to be times where you have to have difficult conversations and go, hey, look, you messed this up. And that's it, whether it's coach to athlete or athlete to coach, it doesn't matter. there are things that the athlete can screw up that can mess with the process of peaking or getting ready for a show. And obviously there are things the coach can do wrong. And if you as a relationship cannot sit down and have those difficult conversations to go, look, this is where you dropped the ball and this is what we need to do to get better, you're going to have a really hard time in this sport being able to do it for extended periods of time. It's not like just going to the next coach is going to make things much better if you still can't have those difficult conversations. Because, yeah, maybe you have one prep and it goes awesome after you switched. But then the next time, maybe something comes up and then you're in the same boat you were before. And then now what do you do? Switch to another coach and jump to somebody else? You could, but you're just delaying this process and slowing things down for yourself by making it something that it doesn't have to be. So the number one thing here when it comes to the relationship of coach and athlete is there needs to be an open line of communication. I need to be able to allow my clients to come to me and say, hey, look, this is a problem and we need to fix this, or that we need to come up with another solution. And vice versa. I need to be able to do that to my athlete. I need to be able to tell you the hard things without you taking it personally and it now feeling like it's an attack. Now, again, that comes back to how I communicate it and how we have that conversation. Because if I come to you and make you feel belittled and talked down to and like I'm talking shit to you, of course you're going to take that the wrong way. But if I go, hey, look, we need to have a hard conversation and this is what's going to happen, that just means we need to pull back and listen without reacting. Like there's that trend that's going around of people like a boyfriend and girlfriend or father and their kids or mother and their kids or whatever. And it's like, we listen and don't judge or whatever it is. And then they say something they tell them a secret that they hadn't told them before. And then the person has to be like, okay, cool. You're telling me something very important here that I need to know. And I'm not going to react to it. So like you kind of have to have that type of conversation with your athlete and with your coach and go, hey, look, I need to tell you something and I need you to not blow up about this because this is something that we need to work on in order to make this relationship better. So if your reason behind leaving a coach is that you didn't place as well as you wanted to, that is not the coach's job. That is not the coach's responsibility. I've said this a million times in a joking aspect of if I could determine the outcomes of shows, I would be a much better coach than I am now. And every coach would be. But we can't determine what the judges decide to do. Like just because I have a relationship with somebody doesn't mean they're going to choose my athlete if they don't look as good as somebody else on stage. Like none of that shit should matter. Like I'm sure there are instances where those things do occur because people are humans and some people suck. But at the end of the day, the only thing that I am not in control of when it comes to my athletes is what happens to them the day of the show. All I can do is make sure that we peak you as well as possible and have you in as good as condition as possible. As long as those two things occur, the rest is not up to us and we just have to deal with it. And if those two things did occur and you did not get the placing you wanted, that is not a reason to step away from that coach. Now, sure, if there's other things going on there that leans you towards like maybe this person isn't the right one for me, like even if you nailed it, maybe they were just handling something inappropriately and you didn't like how they did X, Y, or Z, cool. All right, that's a different conversation. But if your sole reason for leaving a coach is I didn't place as well as I wanted to, so I think this other coach over here is going to be able to do it for me, that is absolutely ridiculous. And just to think that like, for example, Stefan right now, boss of Outlaw, is absolutely crushing the game. He has so many pros on his roster. And out of those pros, a lot of them are Olympians who are going to be competing on the Olympia stage. And you're seeing a ton of people just because of that leaving their coaches and going to him. That is a terrible excuse for going to a new coach. Well, we have a positive track record over here, but this guy over here has an even more positive track record with all of his athletes, so I should obviously leave my coach and go to this person because they're on an upward trajectory. That's absolutely ludicrous to me. And we have to put more emphasis into understanding that this is something that's going to develop and grow over the years. As a coach, when I put an athlete on stage, I am now going to skim through all of the data and stuff that we went through to go, where can we be better in order to get a better response the next time this person gets on stage? I'm looking at the diet. I'm looking at the cardio. I'm looking at stress management. I'm looking at drugs. I'm looking at peaking process. I'm looking at all these different things to go, okay, cool. What went right? What went wrong? What was okay? And then dialing in the things that need to actually be dialed in. This goes back to the same conversation I had in the last podcast like this of what small things are the biggest rocks that we can turn over that's going to make a positive impact for us to move forward. Plain and simple. That doesn't mean that we take, if something went wrong with a peak or a cut or whatever it was, that we completely throw away everything that we've done and try to make some new complicated thing. It means that there's just a small thing in that system that was wrong. Your body did not respond well to X, Y, or Z. Now, next time we're going to do A, B, C instead, right? So those minor tweaks, maybe it was just a matter of you needed more fluids in order to look right on stage. Maybe it's a matter of more salt or less salt. Those things are very minor and can make a drastic difference in somebody's look on stage. So if you and your athlete or you and your coach are not sitting down and having a conversation after a season or after a show and go, cool, this is what I think went well, this is what I think went wrong, these are the things that I'm going to do to improve that, you are missing the mark on being able to make that relationship stronger and better. Because by sitting down together and having that conversation and having an open and honest discussion about what occurred, you now both can have a better understanding of where the other individual is in their head and now make a better game plan that they are going to be more confident in order to get the result that you actually want the next time. Plain and simple. So athletes, the thing that I'm telling you here is, if things are going very well for you with that coach, you guys communicate well, you like how they do all of their coaching stuff, you liked the look, things came together well, that is not the time to jump ship and go completely change everything by going to someone else that has a completely different outlook on these things. That is the time to buckle down and go, cool, what can we do to get better? And a lot of times it's just a matter of more time. It's a matter of that athlete needs to build more tissue in order for us to get the response that we need on stage. That's plain and simple, right? And if all you do is go, well, we didn't get the placing we want, so now I'm going to leave and go to someone else, you've literally just shot yourself in the foot before you started a race. Like, you're going to run a marathon, you shoot yourself in the foot, and now they shoot the gun and you're off running. Like, you're not going to do as well because you shot yourself in the fucking foot. Like, that's just the plain and simple of it. So there are obviously things that come up in somebody's life where, like, maybe you just don't care about competing anymore. Maybe insert whatever thing it is there, the monetary, like relationship. Maybe there's some other issue that's popped up that needs to be addressed in order for you to be able to be a better athlete, and you need to take time to step away. But that is the opportunity for you to go to your coach and say that exact thing. Because even though you're stepping away from that person, instead of lying to them of, oh, I can't do it because of this other reason, because you're afraid to tell them the truth, when you tell them the truth, you are going to create a stronger bond. So if you decide that, hey, I do want to compete again this amount of time down the road, and you go back to that same coach, they now know that they can trust you to tell them the truth and tell them the real thing. Because trust at the end of the day is one of the most important things to getting an athlete in shape on the day of the show. If I can't trust you, if I don't know that you are checking the boxes the way I need you to and doing everything I need you to do exactly the way I need you to do it, I'm going to have a much harder time getting you on stage the way we want to look in order to hopefully get the placing that we were wanting for that day. So the communication aspect of this is a very, very important thing. So while I understand that there are lots of other circumstances that may play a role in why you step away from somebody, make sure that it is not just because you didn't place as well on stage, right? That is not the coach's responsibility and not anything that they have any control over. If it's something that they did and they were in control of and they dropped the ball, that can be a conversation. You can go to that coach and go, hey, look, you dropped the ball here and you need to take responsibility for what you did that stopped us from placing as well as at this show. And if they're a good coach, they're going to go, you're right. I need to fix XYZ in order to get you the best look possible. So at the root of everything that is coaching, it is a communication relationship. If you guys do not communicate effectively, the relationship is not going to work. And that's any relationship. But we're talking about coach-athlete relationship right now. So you have to make sure that you're able to have open, honest, and truthful conversations with your coach in order for you guys to get the best response out of that. So I think at this point, I'm starting to kind of just repeat myself here, but hopefully you guys took away something from this. Yes, buddy. I see that. Hang on one second. He came in with my massage gun. Yeah, so hopefully you guys were able to take away something from this and be able to understand that, like, okay, I've had thoughts about leaving my coach. Let me really dig into the data and see, was it something that they screwed up? And if it is something they've screwed up, have I talked to them about that? If I haven't talked to them about that, I need to open that line of communication. If that line of communication goes poorly and they're not receptive to that, okay, now this is a different conversation and we may need to look in other places. So just the biggest thing here is the coaching athlete relationship is so important to make sure that communication is open and honest. Like, that is the takeaway from this at the end of the day. So don't be in such a rush that just because you see some new coach over here who is doing things really well with their specific athletes, that you have to leave your coach just because that person is doing well. That's not the case. Your coach should be improving every single time you get on stage to get a better look, plain and simple. So again, if you guys like these, please be sure to leave a comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. Let me know what other things you want to hear about and what my mindset is on whatever. I'll be happy to answer anything you have. Have a good rest of your day, guys.